What is up, everybody? It is Og here, back with another video, and today we finally completed the challenge. This was an incredible challenge and an incredible feat. Personally, we were able to get from 1 to 60 in under 2 days and 16 hours played. We didn't do any crazy boosts like the WPL boost and things like that, but it was all through instances and questing and reputation turn-ins, things like that, and we were able to pull it off. So a huge shout out and thank you to everyone who has watched the stream over the past 5 days. You all are incredible and helped me to be able to continue to drive forward through as long of days as nearly 19 hours, getting little sleep, but we were able to pull it off. So thank you all so much. I want to give a special shout out real quickly to Frosty Fanta, Love the Bude, and Bougie for basically sticking through the challenge the entire time and giving up a ton of their time in order to do this. Of course, they got, a nice high level tune out of it, but at the same time, it is quite the time commitment. We raised an enormous amount of money for the ASPCA. For those of you who didn't know, 100% of the donations were being donated to the ASPCA. There were 2 different ways to donate: GoFundMe and directly through the Twitch, and I'll make a lump sum payment in the upcoming days when I'm back on. And we raised $2,109. I am absolutely amazed. Thank you to everyone so much, whether it was a small donation or a large donation. You all are incredibly kind and thoughtful, and thank you so much for your generosity. To all the viewers, thank you so much for participating. You all are incredible as well, and it was so much fun playing and talking to you throughout the entire challenge. You all kept me going. So I didn't make a video for day 4 because we didn't really get any sleep, and so I didn't have time. I wanted to make sure that I got the challenge done, and we ended up getting the challenge done at around 6 a.m. the last day. So now I'm going to cover day 4 and day 5, what we did, and then we're going to go from there. Before we do that, though, I know that a lot of people are very curious about, what dungeons gave the most XP, how much XP were we getting per dungeon, what was the optimal group comp, things like that. Big shout out to Mogan, who day 1 was there and was asking me if I was keeping track of all the XP and things like that, and I was keeping track of the XP that I got, so I have all the timestamps of the different levels that I have, which I'll be publishing at some point. But he actually was keeping track of every individual run and going through the VODs and actually checking every individual run to check the experience of our group, calculate the experience average per run. It was absolutely incredible. And so shout out to Mogan. I'm going to be making a video at some point going through the entire challenge, going through the experience, what was optimal, all the things that we learned, things like that. And I'm going to be massively leveraging Mogan's data. So thank you so much, Mogan, for taking your time to do all that and sticking through the long days to try to keep track of all of it. So here we started off day 4 back in Mara. What we realized at the end of day 3 was that if we had a lower level group in our Mara group, we were able to substantially increase our experience. Now, unfortunately, Love the Bude had a real life obligation come up, which definitely understandable when you're going for about 5 days straight. And so he needed to step out for a little bit. And so what we did was we brought in a level 31 to drastically reduce our average level and increase our experience. So by doing this, we were actually able to decrease our average group level by about 3 levels. And it might not sound like much, but doing that, we actually got 20,000 more experience, 20% more experience from each run, which added up to be a ton. So by no means was this an optimal efficiency strategy or anything like this that we, did this run with. We could definitely do a lot faster than the 2.5 days that we did, but we learned so much along the way. And so we stayed in Mara and we were just doing the Hydra pools. So we were doing the large pools. I'm going to make a video. I figured out a basically easy way to do Hydras every single time and nearly never have an issue. And if you do there's an easy way to reset. And so you're able to basically pull 20 to 25,000 experience. And if you're a lower level, 30,000 experience per run, and each run takes 15 minutes. And so you're still hitting that lockout cap of 4 instances an hour. So it's about 120,000 experience an hour if you have the optimal level in the group. And so I'm going to be making a video for that at some point. But once we finished Mara, we were level 53 and we decided to head back to BRD. At this point, though, we decided to start leveraging Frosty Fanta. So Frosty couldn't really help out much in the first BRD because he was too low of a level where he was just getting resisted all the time. And so I didn't want to try to risk soloing BRD for XP, even though if maybe it could have been good XP, but I didn't want to try risking it because if we died every single time that we died, that's 5 minutes that we have to run back, and it is a long run back to BRD. So we decided to skip BRD and just focus on Mara, stay there until 53, but now Frosty Fanta could help. We also brought in Sleepyhead, who obviously helped us with our original BRD video, so he was very familiar with the strategy himself, so we were able to cruise through our BRD kills. What we found, though, is that BRD just wasn't getting us enough experience at this level. Because our average group level, as you can see, is probably around 55, 56, we were only getting around 16 to 18,000 experience per run, which is just too low, unfortunately, when we're trying to go as quickly as possible. If you have lower levels in the group, you're probably going to be looking at around 20,000 experience per run, so it's probably a pretty good strategy to be able to do this, especially if you have some mages in the group. And maybe when we go back with, the second run through, if we try to do it again in a quicker time, we'll leverage that. But unfortunately, we had to skip BRD due to the amount of experience. So with BRD not working, we decided to step over into questing. Now, we were going to go to Strat, but I decided that, we should probably get Frosty up a couple more levels before we went over to Strat, so at least he could hit some of the mobs and maybe help us a little bit with the damage. And so what we decided to do is go right over into WPL and do the cauldrons, and then also do the cloth turn-ins. So for those of you who don't know, I have something called the journey, which I'm going to be talking about later and showing on my rogue, myself doing it. But basically, there's some cloth turn-ins that you can do, and there's also some Ajara quests you can do that perfectly line up to basically take you to each of the major cities. So, Org, Thunderbluff, Undercity, if you're on the Horde, and Stormwind, Ironforge, Darnassus, etc. on the Alliance. So what you do is you basically go and you turn in these cloth turn-ins, and if you also do the Ajara quests, you turn in those, and you get about 60,000 experience just from the cloth turn-ins, and then another 20,000 experience just from the Azara turn-ins in a matter of minutes. It's absolutely incredible, and it's a really, really good way to get an extra little boost if you're anywhere between 51 and 60. So I'll be having a video on that at some point, but we decided to go ahead and do that to try to get up to level 53 and 54. So Frosty right now is, we can't see him on the screen because we're out of the group so we could do mob tagging, but he is, I believe, 52, and we decided that, if we can get him up to 53, then at least he could be doing some damage to these mobs. So mob tagging, for those of you who do not know, is any mob above level 48 gives you max experience if somebody tags it. So let's say that you are a level 45 warlock, right? You can go around and you can put Siphon Life on every single mob in the area, stack them up, and then a mage can come and kill them, and you will get full experience as if you killed all those mobs. So it's an amazing way to level in a place like Tyre's Hand or something like that if you have an AoE class. It's a lot more difficult, though, if you don't have a warrior, or if you're a warrior or something that can't really tag easily unless you have engineering. So if you're in a group, you don't get as much experience as if you were not in a group doing the tagging. If you're in a group, you might as well just bring in the person that would be doing the killing anyways, because your group is already going to be nerfed on the XP for being in a group. And so having the extra person actually isn't really going to change the XP all that much. So once we got done with doing the quest and everything, Frosty was level 53. And we were like, all right, we are ready to go over to Strat, and we're going to do our best possible attempt. Now, I had never really done Strat. I had done it a couple times. I had tried to solo it once here and there. I had done some small pools and things like that, getting like 70,000 experience per hour, which was decent. But I've heard of being able to get 100 to 125k XP per hour. And so I wanted to try it. But that being said, it was a massive risk because I had no idea how to do the farm. And as you can see, we did not do it very well to start, and really we lost so much time because some of these levels took about 4 hours, and you're going to see that by the time that we got to 60, the levels were actually taking 2, if not at max 3, because we finally got down the Strat. And so Strat is an amazing power leveling instance, and I'll be having a video coming out on this in the near future. It is an amazing instance to power level through, and you get so much money. It's actually incredible how much money we were able to make during it. Now, we blew all that money on consumables anyways just to go faster, but you can make a ton of money power leveling through Strat, but you need to practice it and learn the Strat. Kind of like ST, I didn't want to jump into ST Shout out to Tamira who put out the ST video where you can get some really good experience in ST, but I was unfamiliar with the strategy, so I didn't want to try to go into the strategy during the leveling challenge. But with Strat, I knew that this was going to be the best way that we can get to 60, and so I decided to go for it. But as you're going to see, we die a lot. I mean, a lot. We probably died, I would say, at least 40 times in Strat. At a bare minimum, we died 40 times in Strat over the course of the 2 days, and it was absolutely insane. But by the end of it, we were having an amazing clear time and XP per hour time. So definitely stay tuned to the end of the video so you can see some of those clear times. So in order to do Strat, we needed to bring in another mage. Now, Frosty and I probably just couldn't do Strat ourselves because he's level 53, and I don't have great gear because the tune that I raid on is actually my Holy Priest. So my mage just does all this with standard kind of gear and nothing crazy like that. So what we ended up having to do is bring in some extra mages. So on day 4, we started off with bringing in Sleepyhead, and Sleepyhead was a mage from my guild. Very good. He's been in a lot of my videos and stuff like that. Then we brought in Kree, who was actually Love the Bude's main at the time. And so Love the Bude has his main Kree, who is a mage, and he was with us the whole entire competition. But then eventually he had to go to bed. And so then we brought in another mage from my guild, Rebelfly, who helped out as well after that. And so we were just cycling through mages, trying to figure out the strategy, and we didn't make a ton of progress in Strat on the night 4, I'm going to be honest. And when we were going to bed, I was very nervous because we were only level 55. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, I don't know how we're going to get the rest of the levels. Then when we woke up, we didn't have any mage to help us because Kree, or Love the Bude, had to go back to work because he had to work, and we had taken off multiple days to try to be able to do this challenge and to be able to raise some money for the charity and everything like that. But he had to go back to work, and our other mages weren't available, and so we had to find an alternative way to level. And so what we decided to do was go over to Ungoro and just do smart questing. So smart questing is just a personal term that I call it, but it's basically doing the quest that'd be very efficient to do, and that's it in the certain zones. So we went over to Ungoro because that has a lot of killing quests and a lot of quick and easy collecting quests, and you also have a lot of mobs that you can AoE down. So we were grouping up and we were just blowing through all of these mobs, and we were able to level half a level or more in an hour. So if you are stuck in the level 50s, even if you're an AoE farming mage, I honestly recommend going to Ungoro because 1, there's a ton of mobs that you can AoE farm very quickly, but additionally, you can also get a ton of experience. I mean, a ton of experience in this zone. When I leveled up my Warlock, I leveled up with mob tagging in Ungoro and I was doing the quests, and I got a level and a half in about 2.5 hours just from mob tagging and then killing him with my mage, because you're getting about, I think, like 250 experience per kill, or maybe it's 200 experience per kill, but regardless, you're killing about 6 mobs at a time, so you're getting over 1,000 experience every just like minute or less just from killing the mobs themselves. And then you're also completing all these quests, which Ungoro works perfectly, where you can take a loop around the entire zone, and I'll have a video out showing exactly which quests to do on Ungoro and what order and things like that. But it loops just perfectly around the zone to be able to complete very easily and very quickly for a ton of experience. So we decided to go over to Ungoro until we had a mage get on. A mage actually got on Sleepyhead pretty much immediately as we got into Ungoro, but we started to stick it out, and we stuck in Ungoro, and then we went back over to Strat after we were done with Ungoro. So we sat in Strat for a while, and we were getting a decent experience. We were starting to learn the strategy a little bit, but eventually it came a raid time. And I was very much so hoping that we would finish the competition before my raid Sunday night, because 1, I'd been streaming at that point for 80 hours, and so leading the raid was very difficult, but also because that would mean that we would have to finish the raid and then go all the way back. Fortunately, we were already most of the way through BWL, so we just had a couple bosses to take out and then be done for the day, but it still took a few hours and added probably 3 hours that we had to stay up extra after that. So we transitioned back over to the raid. Now, when we were going through Strat, I want to talk about a couple different things that we did. So we had a hunter that we started off with, and that hunter was Boogie's main. And so Boogie was the rogue Vanisheer in most of our clears, but he wanted to swap over to the hunter because he wanted to main the hunter for our guild once he got up to a higher level. So he swapped over to the hunter, and we were trying to do hunter, mage. And so we had Sleepyhead or hunter, mage. So we had Sleepyhead, myself, Frosty, and Bougie, And the frost traps actually helped a ton. And when we were just learning out the strat, figuring out which strat worked for us, honestly, the frost traps were amazing to have. And so if you can get into strat and just learn it with maybe having some additional help from having frost traps or bringing a healer or something like that, then honestly, I highly recommend doing that. So after Bougie hit level 60, because he started at 57, we swapped over to bring in Priest. And that is what really made the difference for us. With Bougie, we were capping out at probably around 75 to 80k experience per hour, just because we were dying a lot, we were messing up, we were all very sleep deprived, and we were just trying to do our best, trying to get through it. But we were definitely dying a decent bit. But when we swapped out the Priest and we had that little bit of heals, we started flying. And before we even got into this raid, we were talking about 90k experience per hour. And so I was personally excited because I knew that if we could keep up that pace at 90k experience per hour, we could definitely get through the majority of the rest of the time pretty quickly. So once we finally finish off Neff in the raid and we were able to go back, with the Priest. We had a mage volunteer to help us because Sleepyhead had to go to bed. So thank you so much to him for helping out Selenius, and he did an amazing job, an absolutely amazing job. So let's show what a strat could potentially look like. So after about 4 levels of practice, we finally have a strat down that works incredibly well. Now granted, we have an extra mage helping us out and we have a priest, so I'm going to be making a video where it's just 2 mages just to show you all, but we got this strat down incredibly well. In this clip, we do the majority of strat that we would normally do in 9 minutes, which means that at this rate, we can get around 27,000 experience every 12 minutes. So I'll let you do the math if you want to, but it's around 130k experience per hour if we were perfectly efficient. Now, granted, that is with power leveling because we have a full group. And so with 2 mages, it's going to be probably a little bit more difficult than that, but once you have some practice in, you 100% can do this. And this also isn't the cleanest run. We could do it much cleaner. But if you have some gear, if you wear everything proper like that, and if you don't loot, then you can really, really go fast. Now, what I was doing was I was looting all of the Scourge Stones on my ult. In hindsight, it probably wasn't worth it to do that because they give a lot of experience. But at the same time, if we were more efficient and we were just going, as soon as we finished eating and drinking like that, as soon as my mages had the mana up and everything like that, we probably could have cut down an extra 2 to 3 runs worth of time over the 20 hours, which would have been making up any kind of XP that we would have been missing, or maybe even more runs that we would have been able to cut down, because the looting actually takes quite a bit and moving around the warrior and everything like that. So I'm not sure if collecting the Scourge Stones is worth it. What you might want to do when you're selling the strategies and things like that, when you're selling strat runs, is just have your group go ahead and loot, and you just focus on the killing. Now, you're going to be missing out on a lot of money, but that also allows you to be able to charge more. But if you want to go for the loot, you're definitely going to take a little bit more time. Now, if you are the mage looting and you have 2 people looting, it's probably going to be pretty quick, I'm going to be honest, because if you look here, all these mobs are pretty perfectly stacked, so it probably takes about 10 to 15 seconds to loot. So you could probably do it with 2 people, but with just 1 person looting to get all the Surge Stones, it definitely added a little bit of time. But as you can see, we are zooming through this strat. We are pulling anywhere between 5 and 7 groups at a time, and just AoEing them down. Now, I did use iron grenades, thorium grenades, I used some sapper charges, things like that to be able to kill it down much quicker, but you can really, really quickly get through these zones. Also, because you're leveling up people who are, let's say at least level 50, they could probably help you out a lot. Maybe you grab a healer every single run until you get it down perfectly, but you can definitely get a lot of experience in strat. So definitely stay tuned for that video that I'm going to be making, showing exactly how to do strat, 2 mage, farm, and things like that. Right now, I got gifted 50 subs from Skrull, so thank you so much, Skrulltistics. That was absolutely incredible. It was insane. Thank you so much again to all the generosity of everyone. But now we got up to level 59 and a half. And at 59 and a half, we had enough Scourge Stones to go turn in and finish out the rest of the runs. So let's show you the final clips. So here we are over in Light's Hope Chapel. We are finishing up our final quests, turning them in, and then we're going to go and turn in all these Scourge Stones. As you can see, we had a ton of Scourge Stones. And what I was doing was I was updating a little spreadsheet where I was calculating everything and making sure that we had enough experience. But after turning in the quests, we're about 5.5 bars. We have plenty of Scourge Stones to get it done, and we go over and we turn it in. Now, apparently, when I was turning in these Scourge Stones, we maxed out at 1.43 million experience per hour, as calculated by Morgan, our statistician. So if you guys are looking for a really quick way to level, it's about 1.43 million experience per hour. No, this was crazy. We basically hoarded up all the Scourge Stones from the entire day, but as you can see, we are going to get experience incredibly fast, and we just spam click this basically, and just experience rolls in. So I want to say thank you to everyone who helped in this competition and this challenge of mine that I had. This was a very audacious goal coming in, and I was hoping that I could pull off 3 days, but I knew it was going to be a ton of work. Thank you to everyone who watched the channel, showed up every single day. Thank you to all the participants who helped me out, whether it be Sleepy, Rebel, Selenius, or Mogan helping with the statistician. Everyone who donated, everyone who cheered me on along the way, you all were absolutely incredible and made all of the difference as we were going through. We ended up getting the challenge done in 2 days and 15 hours and change. I think it was like 2 days, 15 hours, and 53 minutes. I'll show at the end of the video. But it was absolutely incredible. I was so sleep deprived, and I'm still ready to sleep a ton, but it was 100% worth it because we raised a ton of money, an absolute ton of money for an amazing organization. So thank you everyone so much for supporting that. I'm going to be doing a full in-depth deep dive into the leveling, where we messed up, where we did things right, how we can improve, and then eventually, maybe in the summer, I might even go for 2 days played or less through power leveling, because I think it honestly would be possible to do if you are doing everything efficiently. So definitely stay tuned for that video. And again, if you guys haven't seen any of the other recaps, definitely check out the rest of the playlists for all of those, and I'll link that playlist up above at the beginning of the video. But as you can see here, we are officially 2 bars away. We are listening to We Are the Champions on the stream. Everybody's going crazy, saying hi to everybody. I pulled in the stream chat just so you guys could see exactly what goes on as soon as we hit level 60. But we are just turning in these quests and getting a absolute ton of experience. As far as the total gold that we made, we didn't make much at all because we were constantly buying consumables and things like that. But as you can see, my warrior has 113 raw gold, and that's even after buying things off the auction house. So I honestly probably made just in raw gold on my warrior about 300 gold from leveling. So not great, but at the same time, and just from pure raw gold from AFKing, pretty decent, to be honest. As you can see, he also doesn't have defensive stance. He has no gear. He is in pure leather. But as you can see here, we are about to be 1 turn-in away from the ultimate ding. Now, I was spamming this button really quickly, and I got very lucky, actually, to stop 1 before the end because I was just spamming this. And I was thinking, you know what? We're probably pretty close. And I almost just dinged without even knowing it. And so here I stop, and I'm like, oh, crap. And as you can see, I was literally 36 experience away from dinging. So I'm very glad that I stopped right there, turned off the music, and I just sat there and focused. And here it is, played 2 days, 15 hours, 53 minutes, and 54 seconds in. We hit the last button, turn in the last one, and boom, there it is, boys. Level 60. Thank you again, everyone, so much who participated in the challenge. I couldn't have done it without all of you. This was incredibly fun. I feel incredibly fortunate to be able to have this opportunity, and I can't wait to make the large lump sum donation. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and if you did enjoy the power leveling and everything like that, if you enjoyed watching the run-throughs, and if you enjoyed potentially watching some BWL run-throughs as well, or gold farms, definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Check me out on Twitch, and come give me a follow and talk to me. Ask me any questions you have. I would love to talk to you all. So thank you all for watching, and that wraps up our 1 to 60 power level challenge until we make the summary video. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment below to let me know so. And if you guys have any other ideas for any other videos, please let me know in the comments below. Also, check out the description for the Twitch where I do all this live, and also for my Twitter and Discord where you guys can be notified of any future updates and when I'm going to go live on stream. So I'll see you guys in the next video.